Bentley.
What's my name?
The Bride has long existed in public conversation as a film defined less by a single moment and more by the anticipation, speculation, and gradual flow of updates that surrounded it. From the earliest stage, it was treated as a project that carried strong symbolic weight, drawing attention because of its title alone. The name suggests themes of transformation, identity, and consequence, and those ideas shaped much of the discussion as information slowly emerged. Instead of being framed as a simple genre piece, the movie was often talked about as something more stylized and emotionally driven, designed to leave a lasting impression rather than deliver instant gratification. As news about the film surfaced over time, much of the focus stayed on its tone and creative direction rather than surface-level details. Conversations highlighted that the project aimed to blend intensity with elegance, leaning into a dramatic atmosphere that balanced beauty and darkness. Updates suggested that the filmmakers were interested in creating a world that feels heightened yet grounded, where emotion carries as much weight as action. This approach positioned the film as something meant to be experienced rather than merely watched. The production journey itself became part of the story. Periods of silence were followed by bursts of discussion, which only fueled curiosity further. Each update, no matter how small, was dissected by audiences eager to understand what kind of film was taking shape. Rather than diminishing interest, the gaps between news added to the mystique, giving the impression that careful attention was being paid to every aspect of the project. This sense of deliberate pacing created confidence that the final result would reflect strong creative intent. One of the recurring topics surrounding The Bride was its thematic focus. The film was often described as an exploration of personal evolution, examining how a single defining role or event can reshape someone's entire sense of self. The idea of a bride carries cultural expectations of purity, commitment, and celebration, and discussions suggested that the movie intentionally plays with and subverts those expectations. This tension between appearance and reality became a central point of interest in conversations. Leading up to the film's release, visually, the movie generated attention for its stylistic ambition. Even without explicit details, updates implied a strong emphasis on imagery, mood, and carefully composed scenes. The Bride was talked about as a film that communicates as much through visuals as through dialogue, relying on framing, color, and movement to convey emotion. This emphasis suggested a cinematic experience that rewards close attention, inviting viewers to read between the lines rather than being told everything outright. Sound and music were also part of the broader discussion. The project was frequently associated with a deliberate sonic identity, one that would support the emotional weight of the story. Rather than overwhelming scenes, the music was expected to enhance them subtly, reinforcing tension, longing, and release. This careful integration of sound contributed to the impression that The Bride aimed for cohesion across all elements, creating a unified atmosphere. As reactions and expectations continued to evolve, many conversations focused on how the film might challenge traditional storytelling. There was a sense that The Bride was not interested in following familiar formulas, but instead wanted to push its narrative in unexpected directions. This willingness to take risks became one of the most appealing aspects for audiences looking for something different. Updates hinted that the story would unfold in a way that prioritizes emotional truth over predictability. The emotional core of the film was another recurring topic. Discussion suggested that beneath any dramatic or intense moments lies a deeply personal story about choice, loss, and self-definition. The bride figure was often interpreted as someone standing at a crossroads, forced to confront the gap between who they were and who they are becoming. This universal struggle gave the film broader resonance, allowing audiences to project their own experiences onto the story. As more people began talking about the film, the conversation shifted toward its potential impact. Rather than measuring success purely through spectacle, many viewers expressed interest in how the movie would linger emotionally. The Bride was framed as a film meant to stay with you, prompting reflection long after it ends. This expectation shaped how updates were received, with each piece of information contributing to a growing sense of anticipation. The film's place within a wider cinematic landscape was also frequently mentioned. It was often discussed as part of a trend toward more character-focused storytelling, where internal conflict is given as much importance as external events. In this context, The Bride was seen as a response to audiences seeking depth and originality. Updates reinforced the idea that the film was designed to stand apart rather than blend in, debate, and differing opinions. Naturally emerged as anticipation grew. Some questioned whether the film's ambitions might limit its accessibility, while others welcomed the challenge. These discussions highlighted the divide between viewers who prefer clear, fast-paced narratives and those who enjoy slower, more contemplative experiences. The Bride became a reference point in these conversations, representing a type of cinema that prioritizes mood and meaning over immediate clarity. Over time, the steady accumulation of news and commentary shaped a collective image of the film, even before it was widely seen. Expectations were built not on plot specifics but on tone, intention, and artistic confidence. This made the eventual viewing experience feel personal, as audiences brought their own interpretations and hopes into the theater. The movie's ability to inspire such engagement before release speaks to the power of suggestion and careful communication. As viewers began sharing their impressions, the focus often returned to how the film handles its central figure. The Bride is not treated as a static symbol, but as a dynamic presence whose identity evolves. This portrayal resonated with many who appreciated seeing a character defined by complexity rather than simplicity. Discussions emphasized that strength in the film is not limited to physical action, but includes emotional resilience and self-awareness. The ending of the film became another point of sustained conversation. Without delving into specifics, it was widely described as a moment that reframes the journey that came before it. This choice reinforced the film's commitment to emotional impact over conventional resolution. For some, it was deeply satisfying, while for others it raised questions and invited debate. Either way, it ensured that the film remained part of ongoing discussion rather than fading quickly. In reflecting on the overall response, it became clear that The Bride succeeded in carving out its own identity. It was not universally embraced in the same way, but it was rarely ignored. That ability to provoke reaction and conversation is often seen as a mark of meaningful cinema. The updates and news that once fueled anticipation eventually transformed into analysis and interpretation, extending the life of the film beyond its initial release. Looking back, The Bride can be seen as a project defined by intention and atmosphere. Its journey from early mention to wider recognition was shaped by patience, curiosity, and a willingness to let mystery play a role. Rather than relying on constant exposure, it allowed interest to build organically. This approach mirrored the film's own themes of transformation and revelation. Ultimately, The Bride stands as a reminder that stories centered on identity and change remain powerful regardless of setting or style. By focusing on internal conflict and emotional resonance, the film connected with audiences on a deeper level. The discussions, updates, and reactions surrounding it became part of its legacy, shaping how it is remembered and revisited. In that sense, The Bride is not just a movie, but a conversation that continues to evolve with time.